Well, hello everyone, it's Kari, and today I have a really fun project making some stained glass windows. I'm going to be using the Castle Arches die set, which also comes with this amazing window and some great details that makes the best stained glass. I'm going to show you a couple different ways to do this. And to start, I'm going to dry emboss this die cut into some nice thick cardstock. I'm using this rubber mat that comes with my die cutting machine in order to just emboss it and not die cut it. And I'll tape that on so it doesn't move when I run it through. And then I'll take that to my die cut machine. And this is the beautiful result that you get with some dry embossing. It's so awesome. Now I'm going to take these windows and I'm just going to place them right here. I could have kept them together, and in fact maybe I should have, but I decided to cut them one by one. And on this first one I didn't get them lined up exactly right, but I'm still going to use it, and I'm going to show you how I will distract from the imperfectness of that one. So see here, they're not exactly lined up. I'm going to show you a trick now for making sure they are lined up on your next one. So I've gone ahead and dry embossed another panel, and now I'm going to take those cutouts from the first one and I will place them on my embossed panel using a little bit of removable adhesive. That's going to keep them in place so I know that they're exactly lined up. You can also use a T-square ruler to make sure you have the bottom of those windows lined up correctly. So I'm placing those here, and now I'm going to tape that die cut over the top and die cut that first one. I'll remove that and then put it over the other window that is temporarily adhered, die cut that, and you'll get a perfect result each and every time. So it is worth a little of the extra work. So you can see I've got the one that's not quite lined up, but this one is. So now I'm going to take some vellum for this first one and make a stained glass background for my window. Now I've cut out this fancy piece in both black and silver, and I'm trying to decide if I want to use the black or the silver on this particular stained glass one. I'm going to use one on this first one and one on the second tip that I'm going to share with you on how to make stained glass. So I'll cut out that vellum and attach that to the back of the panel. I'm just going to use some liquid adhesive for this all the way around those windows and then glue that vellum right down. You're not going to see this on the front because we're just gluing it to the back, so that glue is not even going to be seen on the front. And then I'll turn that over and place my window of choice. So this first one with the vellum, I'm going to use the silver die cut, and this makes it look like real stained glass with that center silver solder. So it does look very real, like a stained glass piece would. I'm just adding tiny, tiny dots and then wiping a little bit away with my finger so that none of that will ooze out onto the vellum. We definitely don't want that. I've chosen 5 colors of Copic markers, and I was inspired by my fingernails today. So I chose markers to kind of match that, and now I'm going to color each one of those little panels, and you can see through the vellum to see where the lines are, so you can color each one of those panes just a different shade. And this is really, really pretty. I'm just turning it over to make sure you can see it through the side, but we are going to add some light behind this vellum stained glass window, so you'll be able to really see that stained glass look, and it's so beautiful. So you can see I'm really just randomly choosing different panes of glass to color up in each color, and I'm coloring 2 or 3, whatever works with each color, just like that. And I'm just checking out my work. I think it looks really pretty. You're not going to be able to really see it until we add the lights, but I'll finish both panes of the stained glass and put my markers away so that we can add that light. You can see it a little better with a white panel behind it. Look how pretty that looks. And I'm going to use one of these easy lights to really help me make that shine. So I've chosen one of these that has a 3 light to it, 3 lights. And all you have to do is take the battery that's included in that package and attach it to the mechanism here. The plus signs line up, so you can see the plus sign on the battery and the plus sign on the top of the mechanism. So you add those together, and then I always like to test it out. So I'm going to place this right down here in this corner. And to do that, I'm using some score tape, really strong double-sided adhesive to glue that down or to attach that down. I'm just making sure that's going to be in the right spot. And I'll remove the backing to that adhesive and stick that down. So now that is stuck down in the corner. That's going to be where the recipient will press to make them light up. Now I'm just going to use some regular tape to tape the lights where I want them to go. And in this case, I'm going to tape them near the top of each of the windows so they just kind of glow down from the top, which I think kind of mimics maybe how sunlight would shine through. So I'm just adjusting where those are at real quick to make sure that that's where I want them to be. And I test all along as I go. Now I'll go ahead and curl up those wires just a little and tape those down onto the back as well. One of the lights got away from me here. So I'll just re-tape that down, make sure everything is in place. And it's just really simple to make these lights work. So there we go. That's how it's going to look. Now I'm going to take some foam tape, and this is double thick foam tape. So it's twice as high as normal foam tape. And I love this foam tape because you don't have to double it up yourself. It's already done it for you. So this is brilliant. And the other great thing about this particular foam tape is it's also removable within the first couple hours of using it. So if you put it in the wrong spot, you can take it off and place it back down where you want it. And then it becomes permanent after 24 hours. So it's a really neat tape. So as I do that, I'm checking the entire way, and I'm going to add foam tape all across the back of this panel so that there are no spots that'll dip down. This will keep everything all the same height. I'm just not going to cover up the windows because we definitely want those to remain see-through with that vellum. I'll put a little bit underneath those windows there, and that should do it. So look how pretty that's going to look on the card. So now I have also cut out the arches from this die, and I always wanted to do a wood looking ceiling with the arches because I think that's how some of the old cathedrals looked with a wooden archway. So I colored these up using some distress ink, and now I'm going to take the perspective floor stencil from Miss Ink Stamps, and I'm going to stencil on the die cut of the floor portion. I chose the brick, although you'll see I'm going to change my mind real quick on this after I get it done. I'm starting out with some abandoned coral ink, and then I'll take some black soot and just pounce that on to give it more of an old world look. So I'll pounce that on, and then I'm also going to take some white pigment ink and pounce that on. This will give it some variation in the colors and make it look old and kind of, you know how old bricks look. They all have different shades to them. So there's our floor. But I put that down and I realized that's not really matching the look that I'm going for this floor. So I'm going to reserve that floor for our second card that we're going to use the black stained glass window on. And I'm going to redo another floor here, choosing the cobblestone stencil instead. And this time I'll just do a light tan color for that. I'll add that real quickly. I love this perspective floor stencil. It really makes it easy to add the look that you're going for a floor. So I'll add some darker brown, just pouncing that on as well. And you're not going to be able to see this as well in the video as I want you to, but there is the look. So I decided I wanted a silver frame around this entire scene. So I'm taking this silver cardstock and I'm going to cut that frame by using the Castle Arches die to cut that out, because this Castle Arches die does have a frame all the way around that you can use. And so I'm going to use a silver frame, and that's going to match our stained glass windows with the silver soldering in the center. So I think that's going to be really fun. And now I can go ahead and glue on these wooden arches. Just use a small bead of liquid adhesive and then place that down. Now remember, this is embossed, dry embossed background, so it's real easy to see where this belongs on the card because of that embossing. So I'll place that down, and then I'll go ahead and place the floor down as well. There's the flooring. So I think I said cobblestone before, but this is really the second one to the stencil, and it's the tiled floor. Looks kind of like old world travertine maybe. So there we go. And now I'm going to go ahead and stamp down a stamp that says push me, so they know this is an interactive card. The recipient will know to press there, and I am going to heat emboss that with some clear embossing powder, and that way that's never going to smudge. And I'll heat set that just like that. And now this is ready to go. So we can add this to our card base now. So I'll remove the release paper from that foam tape, add that to our card base, and then we can finish up this card. I do have some images we'll add. I'm going to be using these characters for both of our cards. This is from the So Charming stamp set, and he's normally standing on a big group of books, but I ended up using those books for another project, so I had a couple of these guys just waiting to be used. So I'm going to color them up and set those aside while I create the second card. Now remember, I cut the frame out of that silver cardstock, and I could not let that go to waste. So I decided for our second card with the black leading or the black stained glass window, I wanted to use that silver, but I needed to knock down that shininess. So I'm using some black distress paint, and I'm just using a corner of my tool here to add some paint, just pouncing it on and then taking away a little bit of that paint using a towel here or a tissue, and it really creates a really neat look. So let me show you this a little bit closer. You can see it's like old world, silvery, I don't know, it just feels like a cool metallic look. So this is going to come together really beautifully with our black window. Look at that. And then the brick floor that we did before. So I'll pull all of this together. This time I used some acetate for the window behind on the other side. And I colored that the same way as I did on the vellum, only this time it's acetate. So it doesn't need a light to really shine through, because it really looks beautiful on that white panel behind it. So a vellum window and an acetate window. Now I'm going to take this Shine Bright from the Sunshine and Rainbows stamp set from Miss Ink Stamps, and I'll use that for our sentiment on the one on the left. And I put that on an orange panel to match the stained glass. And then I also added a little cat. And then for this one, I added some books and also a watch. See that little pocket watch floating above the windows? That's another distraction technique. And I made the You're So Charming sentiment kind of follow the curve of that archway on the top. So here's the light up one, and then this is the rest of the silver I had left over, so I thought I better put that together. Now I'm going to create a dungeon with that one, but not today. I'll save that for another time, but I thought I'd show you how cool that look just turned out. It's really fun to do. So I hope I inspired you with a couple ideas of how to create a beautiful stained glass window on your cards. I hope you can see that embossing in the background. You can see it much better in real life, and I realize that, but I just had a great time today. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you real soon with more to come. Bye-bye.